All right, 1 2 1 2 in the place to be. How y'all doing out there? I am Frank Red. And this is time. It's time for another edition of In the Dungeon Show. I'm happy to have you join me in conversation. Really appreciate it. And lucky for us, there's so much to talk about, and I'm interested in getting your comments to add to the program, bring forth quality conversation. It is all good. Hopefully everybody is comfortable losing an hour's sleep. It's always a little different as our bodies start to readjust to daylight savings time. This is going on the premise that you live in a region of the United States in which you actually still do daylight savings time, or if you're listening somewhere else around the world, that probably doesn't apply to you. But it's always an interesting deal for myself to become used to getting up a little early or having an opportunity to sleep a little later in the wintertime. With that said, as I said, we have a myriad of topics to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about San Francisco 49ers. There are reports that the 49ers lowballed Brock Purdy. And then there was a rebuttal or a second comment by another talking head, a columnist. I'll give Diana Rossini a lot of credit. I like Diana Rossini, who used to be on ESPN. She now works for The Atlantic. And she refuted the public comment that said that the 49ers have lowballed Brock Purdy. That's okay. But I got a question. The question for me is, they've already come out and said that they wanted to get this thing done relatively quickly. What's taking so long? Are we going back to last year where the 49 bean counters are getting together and trying to devise a scheme in which they're going to look good? Because as I said, every dollar minus the market rate, they win. They can go and stand in front of their bosses and say, look how much money I saved you. We know what the market is already, right? We know what the market is. It's $50 to $55 million. That's what it is, all right? So anything below that, we're kind of playing games. That's what we're doing. All right, so we're going to talk Brock Purdy, but there's so much more to talk about in the NFL in terms of free agency, trades, leading up to the NFL draft. I'm so excited about that. I thought about a person I'm going to go to in a minute, the great Vicky. Because Vicky, at the start of the NBA season, was the only person that I talked to that was talking about 50 wins for the Golden State Warriors. She was the only person. I was around 44 to 48. Now, you might say that, the dominoes have changed because they got a new player. Jimmy Butler has changed the landscape, changed the calculus of what the expectations are for the Golden State Warriors. That's a fair statement, but the reality is trades happen every year. You make a prediction, you prognosticate, and then you wait to see if it actually comes to fruition. And Vicky was the only person talking 50 wins for the Warriors. And it's not far-fetched at this point. I'm going to stick with 48, but wow, Jimmy Butler's made a big difference. I'm going to talk about the Warriors. They won a tough game last night. Detroit is tough. They're physical, they're tough, and they're good. They're well coached. And they gave the Warriors a major run last night. They went up to Portland and got a victory against a tough, much improved Trailblazer team who fought hard until the end. The Warriors got to take on the Trailblazers tomorrow night. That's not a cakewalk. I think everybody knows that. So we're going to talk Golden State Warrior basketball. Also, the news of the day to me, and I'm going to preface my comments by saying that a lot of people who do commentary, content creation, commercially or in vehicles like this where you're online, they have biases, they don't acknowledge their biases. They just spew their true feelings online without necessarily any type of explanation to quantify them. I root for certain guys and girls and women, and I'm not afraid to say it. I like to see Mike Tomlin succeed. I do. I don't root against anybody else, but I like to hear things are going well in the right direction for Mike Tomlin, because I think he's truly one of the great coaches of his era. And because of the lack of balance in commercial sports talk radio and online and in the press, Tomlin is acknowledged for what he's done. Never had a losing season, but he's also beat up a lot, unfairly in my opinion. The acquisition of DK Metcalf from Seattle to the Pittsburgh Steelers is a game changer. They now have a dude. Now you might say, well, Red, they don't have a dude playing quarterback. Yeah, I don't know if you need a dude playing quarterback. You need somebody who can get the job done. Mike Tomlin and anybody else making a decision with the Steelers looked at the Philadelphia Eagles and said, you know what? We need an A.J. Brown. We need a Brown. That's what we need. We need a guy. We need a DeMar Chase. And now they have that guy. He signed 5-year, $150 million. I love it. I also love it because it sends a strong, resounding message to George Pickens. Get in line, be professional, or you won't be here. It's simple as that. This is winning time now. So I'm happy about what the Steelers are doing. It'll be interesting to see where they go now with regards to their quarterback. With Metcalf in the fold, I think they're more likely to sign Russell Wilson as opposed to Justin Fields, because Justin Fields is more of a running quarterback, and with the long ball, Russell Wilson is more accurate. I think he's a better deep ball thrower. So I want Justin Fields to go somewhere like the New York Jets, get your starting job, make your money, and build your career. But I think it now speaks more to Russell Wilson coming back than Justin Fields, because Metcalf really goes and gets the deep ball. There's so much to talk about in sports, and I'm down for all of it. Done a lot of research, but those are some things that are heavy on my mind at the top. Go out and talk to Vicky. Vicky says, "Hi, Frank. I'm calling it right now. Next year, the NBA Finals will be your New York Knicks and the Stephen Curry Golden State Warriors. Sorry, not this year, but next year. How can $45 million a year be lowball for Purdy?" Well, it's not market value. I said 60 wins for the Warriors. Vicky, I'm trying to make you look good. And then you say something, and then you admit that you said something that's totally outrageous. Work with me. I'm trying to make, at 50 wins, you would be the #1 Golden State Warrior prognosticator. You just gave that back. Steve-O Supremo. Steve-O, I gotta tell you, that's one of the best names in all of name tags or handles. Steve-O Supremo. And obviously, I think of DJ Premier. DK and Pickens are bad attitudes, like Adams and Puka, a lot better. Might be right. I'm more concerned with production than someone's attitude. Brown was kind of a problem for Pittsburgh after a while, but he put crazy numbers up, didn't he? And again, here's the thing, Steve-O. DK already has a track record of success. Already. He's a hard worker. He plays extremely hard. He got what he wanted. He got paid. George Pickens has not even been paid yet. Who has a bad attitude before they get paid? That doesn't make any sense to me. And guess what? Pittsburgh's not going to pay him this year. They're not going to pay him. They're going to make him go out and have an all-pro caliber season and then get his money. So you may or may not be right, but I think right now, Pittsburgh, to me, they're the best team in that division. To me. I take them over Cincinnati. I'll take them over KC. And I'll certainly take them over Cleveland. Right now, I'm rolling with the Steelers. Key says, Tomlin is a Hall of Fame coach. DK is nice, but getting Darryl tomorrow is also a rumor. I'm hearing how Donald. I'm not in love with that, to be quite honest with you, Keys. Donald is good, but I think he is. I don't know if he's built for this. I don't know if he is. I got Sam Darnold in Seattle. To me, you ever been to Seattle? The people are nice. It's kind of cloudy. It rains. Yeah, they like football. They've won Super Bowls, but they just want to do their jobs with their families. Pittsburgh is a bunch of savages. In the most eloquent and complimentary way that I can say it, Pittsburgh, no. They come to football games with pitchforks. They want to win. And I don't know if Sam Darnold's built for that. I think Russell is built for it. I do. I just think Russell Wilson has limitations. You know what I'm saying? So the way that I see it, I think they're going to try to get the kid from Boise State, if he's available, Gentry, the running back. Or there are a number of good running backs. Pittsburgh's definitely drafted a running back. And the thing about the acquisition of DK Metcalf, they gave up a second-round pick, which is reasonable. They did not get fleeced. Seemingly, Seattle wanted to get rid of DK because they didn't want to pay him. Or maybe they had other reasons. But a second-round pick and some pick swaps later on sets the Pittsburgh Steelers up really, really well. Now, what do Pittsburgh usually draft? They usually draft offensive linemen and corners or safeties. They generally don't draft running backs in the first round. Like they did the last time, and it didn't work out that well for them. So they know that they have to address their running game. They already know that. You got to address the running game. You could never have too many offensive linemen. You could never have too many edge rushers. They're setting themselves up to have what I think is a really good year. Vicky says, talking about attitude, what do you think about what LeBron did last night? This is what makes Steph a better player than LeBron. You're talking Friday night, and I got that written down, Vicky, as one of my things to talk about, and I might as well talk about it now. I hated it. I think it was a terrible look for LeBron. Everybody knows that we haven't seen anything from LeBron throughout his 20-plus year career that would suggest that, he's a tough guy. I haven't seen anything that would suggest that he's weak either, that he's a punk. I'm not saying that. But, he has not comported himself like a, quote, tough guy. To be in your space, in your stadium, to approach someone in the media like Stephen A., who's 6'3", Stephen A. ain't a punk. But you're 6'9", he's 6'3". He got a suit on. And you're going to approach him and talk to him about something that he said about your son, allegedly. That is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard of. I did not hear any personal attacks on Bronny. Everybody loves Bronny. By all accounts, Bronny James is a wonderful young man. And I'm one of the people who says that I think he has the talent to play in the NBA. But his ascension or his path was orchestrated by LeBron. If it was not for LeBron, he never would have been drafted. He certainly would not have been drafted by the Lakers. He certainly would not have gotten a guaranteed $7 million contract. Come on, y'all. Now, in the echoes of greatness, these types of things, they don't take away from what LeBron has done and what he's doing, because he's been fantastic. But it separates him from some of the all-time greats in terms of reverence, in terms of how we look at these great athletes. LeBron James might have been a better teammate than Michael Jordan. I don't know. I didn't play with Mike. I didn't play with LeBron. But guess what? Whatever you think of Michael Jordan, this is why he's great. The reverence that players, fans, teammates had for Michael during his playing career, 20 plus years later, it might be even stronger. It might be stronger. You know why? Because Michael Jordan kept it about basketball. It wasn't about anything else. It was about what happened on the court. And that's a beautiful thing. For people that don't know, Michael Jordan had two basketball playing sons. Jeffrey, 6 foot, 6'1", D1 player, went to Illinois, didn't play a whole lot, but certainly not a slouch. Marcus, now we know Marcus Jordan for a lot of other things. But let me tell you something. Marcus Jordan was a very good basketball player. Not a role player. This dude at University of Central Florida put numbers up. He only played 3 years of college basketball. He averaged above 15 points. He was 6'3". I never heard of anything about Michael Jordan trying to usher his son into the NBA, even though he owned the team. Listen, Marcus Jordan would not have been out of place at all on an NBA bench. Not at all. Guy was a good player. But you never heard anything from Michael with regards to helping to build his son's basketball careers. Never. I admire that so much. And in the same breath, maybe his son was like, yo, Dad, you know what? That's not what I want to do. I'm going to take a different path. That path has been kind of interesting. But I think you get my point here. Also, I don't know who said this, but this afternoon, I'm scammering, preparing, and I saw something about Michael Jordan. Now, LeBron has said, yo, I'm the GOAT, right? Oh, Scottie Pippen said this. I saw a video this afternoon from Scottie Pippen. I don't know when it happened. I don't know if it was before the feud or whatever. But this is what he said. And it got me thinking. Scottie Pippen said, Michael Jordan has never said that he was the best player of all time. Never. The fans said it. I had to think to myself, I've never heard Michael say that he was the best player of all time. And Scottie Pippen said that he never said that because he wanted to be respectful to the players who came before him. And I got into a really deep conversation a couple of days ago about, well, I was actually on Dan Coach Amelia's show midweek doing a Warrior post game, and we kind of got into weeds talking about old school players. And this is what I brought up. Do you believe that Oscar Robertson believes that any player, particularly guards, was better than him? I don't care if it's Jordan. I don't care if it's anybody. Do you know how good a player Oscar Robertson was? I've stood next to Oscar Robinson. Oscar Robinson was every bit of 6'6", with long arms. The first to average a triple-double. Michael Jordan's never said that he's better than it. He's never said he was the best player of all time. We said it based on what we've seen, and I believe he is. That's just the difference between, and it's a shame because when we talk about LeBron, we should be keeping it basketball because what the guy is doing is legendary. Now, I don't know, I was on the news cycle. I know I was looking at another video on YouTube. I'm not going to mention the podcast, but it's pretty reputable. It's pretty reputable. And they started to get into the PED conversation. And invariably, LeBron's name comes up. And it doesn't sway me one bit. It does not. Because I'm disciplined to always follow the facts. I'm not into innuendo. I'm not into opinion. None of that crap. Where are the facts? We haven't seen any facts that would suggest that LeBron James' greatness is the result of anything but his hard work and his just supernatural human ability. But that narrative's out there. You know that, and I know that. And from Stephen A's perspective, there's a lot of people who don't like Stephen A. Smith. And, okay, that's fine. But a lot of it is weird and jealousy. Be honest. I mean, listen, how can you be, I don't even want to differentiate between genders. I'm not going to do that. But how can you be jealous of somebody else? You don't know what someone else's life is. Why would you want to be jealous of somebody else? There's a lot of jealous people in the media. What Stephen A. Smith has been able to do, that dude signed a contract for $100 million. Every dime that he said that he wanted, he got. And people who wanted to put him against McAfee, that is the most tired narrative conversation I've ever heard of in my life. Whatever McAfee is doing, whatever his relationships are with ESPN, it didn't stop Stephen A. from getting $100 million. That's just his ESPN money. This dude has an opportunity to go out and make millions more. Nobody who has $100 million contract, who has a suit on, talking about sports, should take crap from any athlete. Because that $100 million is really equates to $1 billion. At least. You know how hard it is to do that in the media? Are you kidding me? Stephen A. And listen, Stephen A. has opened up so many doors for people. And some of the things he does kind of vaudevillian, and he get, yeah. Does he yell? Yeah, he does all that. but it works for him. It's not going to work for everybody else, but it works for him. He's also the same guy who will do an NBA pre-post-game show from California, get on a private jet, fly all night, and show up on First Take on Monday morning. You want that life? Do you really want that life? You don't know what that life is all about. I always go back to my first introduction to Stephen A. Smith. I remember it like it was yesterday, 20 years ago. We're all in the Sacramento Kings locker room. This is when, internet wasn't big. As a beat writer, most of your story is written by the third quarter. You just got to go in the locker room and get your quotes, insert them in, and then get your story on the Telegraph so to be on time to get in the early morning paper. Stephen A. was exemplary in his professionalism as a beat writer. None of the hijinks, no. Dude was like every other beat writer. And I just kind of stood there because I would go in and talk to athletes and try to book them for my show and stuff. But I watched, and I was really, really impressed by what I saw. So, when you start talking about Stephen A., it has to be more than hearsay, unless you have some real data, some real information. Most people don't. I've never been jealous of anybody. Never. I root for people. Because happiness is not out of things. Materialism does not, that doesn't do it for me. It's nice, but it doesn't do it for me. That does not make me happy. Stephen A. probably has a pretty complicated life, man. But I admire what he's been able to do. To navigate through this industry to get a $100 million contract is extraordinary for him. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna wrap this up with this. This week, he also gives a lot back. Apparently, he's going to go on Gil's Arena this week, right? And there's also rumors that he's going to go on the Skip Bayless show. And that warms my heart because those guys are thicker than Steve. And Skip Bayless needs Stephen A. right now. Whether or not he's going to do it, I don't know. I don't have any inside information, but that would be awesome. Because when Stephen A. was on his knees, on his knuckles, it was Skip Bayless who helped him resurrect his career after he had got fired from ESPN the first time. It was Skip Bayless that did that. And when you're real brothers, real partners, sisters, brothers and sisters, when you really got a bond with somebody, you help them out. You're there for them. That's friendship. I hope it comes to fruition. All right, I'm going to get to some of these callers. Biggie says, I think the 49ers are good with running back. Defense. Defense is getting there. Wide receiver might be a problem. You think? You traded Debo. A lot of people crapped on Debo. He had a bad year. He got disillusioned. But it wasn't like he can't play. Debo can play. He's going to be very valuable to the Commanders, in my opinion. It might not show up in all the numbers, but I think he's going to be successful there. Ayuk's not coming back at the start of the year. So you got JJ, you got Pearsall, you got Coward. You need a dude. I'm not going to get into the Bronny's a Nepo baby. I hate that term. I really do hate that term. And I said that, and I talked about that last week because Maya Hawke and many other children of stars are really talented. They work their asses off. Why can't they have success? Bronny is the result of a machine. He's a young kid. He should have stayed in college. He should have went to a college that was going to challenge him, i.e., Kansas, North Carolina, Duke. You pick the college. I don't care. UConn. Well, you got to earn it. You know, you got to earn it. He didn't earn anything at USC in not 1 year, and it was not good for him. Sometimes, as a young player, you have to pay your dues. Ronnie needs to pay his dues. Great point, Vic. You on fire tonight. What Steph is doing is legendary. I totally agree with you. Stephen A is legendary. He's had a hell of a run. I'll say that. I think he could tone it down a little bit and still get the same result. You know, and maybe he will now, having a 5-year deal. Maybe he'll tone it down a little bit because I think he and I probably come from the same era. And I mention his name every now and then, but Ralph Wiley was the standard for Black writers, content providers. Ralph Wiley was the guy. Sports Illustrated. I still remember as a kid watching him school Bob Costas on all things about sports and life. You know, Stephen A kind of plays the hits. You know, he goes on, conservative radio, and breaks bread with folks. It's all good, but be substantive. Be substantive. I heard a guy who is a pretty well-respected political contributor, and he broke Stephen A down and didn't have real nice things to say about his knowledge with regards to the political landscape in that community. I don't think he's trying to be malicious. Somebody came up that way. But if you're going to step in those communities, you really need to be as passionate as you are about sports, as opposed to getting clicks. Because what happens when Stephen A goes on Fox or goes on another one of these shows, he's at the point now where he's just getting clicks for folks. But people who watch these shows are really listening. So I think that's something he needs to be concerned about. I'm not saying you can't be diversified, but be an expert at it all. If you're going to go on, a political station, which is fine. Just be an expert. Know your stuff. That's all. My man Key says, do you think the Niners ownership are mad at Debo and Ayuk and thinks Kyle should stay out of the way? Absolutely. I think that you're right. Keys, I think you're spot on. And, the fact that Cal willingly gave up the play calling abilities of his team, I take note of stuff like that. And I don't have a problem with organizations negotiating with players and players negotiating with organizations. But here's the difference. Organizations, professional teams have allies in the media. They do. It's just a fact. How do I know? Because I was in the media. So I know. Now, I was isolated. I was miraculous. I was like Stephen A. Literally. I went from the bottom to becoming number one for 10 years. And I built some relationships that are solid. But more than anything, I was just professional. I have an exemplary relationship with all of the teams that I covered. But like when you see like people in this industry and all of a sudden they got another job, like a better job is kind of associated with an organization. It's an incestuous industry. And if an organization wants to paint a picture, they have the artists and the brushes to get it done. Players don't really have that. Agents they can do it a little bit, and that's kind of the new wave of the player-agent relationships. Yeah, the quote NBA insider type, NFL insider, agents can kind of get to those folks. This business is a hell of a lot more complicated and close-knit than fans know of. That's just how it works. Anytime I can give any nuggets, I've been away from it for a while, but I like to do that. Vicky says, the reason I'm hard on LeBron is because he is better than that. Is he better than that? He knows better, Vicky. It's something to be better than something, right? Than to know better. Stephen Curry knows better, and he does better. He doesn't throw his weight around. And now, the only way Steph throws his weight around, once you start affecting what's happening on the court, certain players get traded or they're not on the court with him as much. You need to do your job. But Steph in his own way will let folks know, what, this ain't working. Don't ever underestimate Stephen Curry. Keys, my guy, Guy Santos has been balling, Frank. Hope he keeps it up even when Kuminga comes back. He's just so right. And I'm going to tell you something. I wrote down a note. Okay, here's my notes. I prepare and do a bunch of stuff. One of the things that I wanted to raise in this particular commentary, this show, was I was wrong about Guy Santos. He's a real player. And I think he embarrassed Steve Kerr in the Olympics because he played so well. I said that Juan Toscano Anderson was a better player than Guy Santos. No, he's not. He's not. I was wrong. He's not a better player than Guy Santos. Guy Santos is a talented guy. Now, and the reason why I drew that conclusion is because he wasn't playing. He didn't get an opportunity. What happens when talented players get a chance to play? They perform. I'm happy for Guy Santos, man. He's turning into kind of a glue guy. The Warriors got a bunch of glue guys. Now, is his basketball IQ the highest? No, it's not. But he can kind of grow into that. But the basketball fan in me, the player in me, doesn't know anything but playing hard all the time. I love Guy Santos's motor. And it just so happens that he can shoot. So, salute to him, man. He balling. And, my other take that I didn't raise is about Jonathan Kuminga. Every week I do this show, somebody tells me that Jonathan Kuminga is going to come back the next game, and we don't see him. Jonathan Kuminga hurt his ankle January 3rd. Now, do I think there's any funny business going on about him not coming back? He's practicing. I'm not going to say that because I have no proof. Do I think that there's some agent stuff, message sending? Wouldn't surprise me. These players in the NBA, you have the organization's medical staff and you have their medical staff. And oftentimes, the players' medical staff, if they have any type of prestige, they make the decisions. So they're like, yo, am I going to let my player come back too early? We got 20 games to go. When you already basically told him that you ain't going to pay him? No. Because he could get hurt when he come back. Let's just keep it real. Will he come back? I think he will. I hope he does. But next year will be year 5 of Kuminga. And Steve Kerr is stubborn enough and confident enough and cocky enough to say, you know what, we don't really need it. We good over here. So you got a quote Mexican standoff, if you will. Because Kerr has to like this team. A team that he envisioned, he comprised, and to bring somebody in that may or may not buy in is not something that he really wants to deal with. So I got it all figured out. Before I came on the show, I was thinking about this. I think that the Golden State Warriors should trade Kuminga to the Washington Wizards for a top 5 pick and maybe a player. And I think it's going to happen. Can anybody listen to the program right now imagine the Golden State Warriors writing Jonathan Kuminga a check for $185 million? Which is what his market value is. I can't see it happening. But he is a chip. Particularly with Jimmy Butler playing so well, I think the KD ship has sailed. I think they're going to ride with Jimmy Butler. And imagine the Warriors. Now, the Warriors have not done a great job drafting players. But imagine the Warriors having a top 5 pick. And they are successful having that player to kind of bring up and nurture in their community at a reduced price. You think they don't want to do that? Oh, they want to do that. So, is it impossible that Jonathan Kuminga will sign with the Warriors and be here long term? No, it's not. He's a talented guy. But it would not surprise me if he got traded. And if I'm the Washington Wizards, okay, so you got Jordan Poole. He and Kuminga were cool. Do you really want to draft another player not named Cooper Flagg to come into your organization? No. You want a guy like Kuminga who's going to come in with a fresh contract, who's going to put up 20 a game. And literally be one of your guys, be one of the faces of your franchise. Keep your eye on that. Wow. Everybody likes to hear nice things about themselves. Vicky says, you, Frank, are legendary. Wow. Thank you. I appreciate you. He says, I agree, Vicky. What do you think about KD asking the Suns to trade him this offseason? I think they want to trade him. You know, I don't think he has to ask. I think he's going to go back to his house. His bag's going to be packed, and the limousine's going to be outside. I thought that KD coming back to the Warriors was a real possibility, but the way that Jimmy Butler has played, I don't even think that's an option now. I don't. So I feel kind of sorry for KD. I do. The cool thing is Lakers already said that, well, no, he didn't say that. He implied that he was going to retire the number. Now, make what you want from that statement. He didn't actually say that. He said no one will wear Kevin Durant's number again. You know, I think he should hang in the Raptors. I do personally. Because those championships don't go away. Those championships are forever. You know what? Our distant relatives, as long as the NBA is in existence, will be able to look up in the Raptors and see numbers of players that they know nothing about, that they have to go to whatever the next YouTube is. You know, maybe the information will be inserted into their brains already. You just have to configure the chip. Maybe they'll be born with the information. But those types of dedications don't go away. And at least Kevin Durant has a home. He has a home with the Warriors. To bring him back at the expense of getting rid of Jimmy Butler, which is what it would take, it kind of borders on being sentimental. And I don't know if you want to go down that road. KD is, Jimmy Butler's 35 too. So these great players that we know of, they're still great, but their timeline is not all that long. So it's going to play out. It's going to be interesting. Key said, I heard Draymond say Cat mixed Warriors game because he was scared of Jimmy. And then when Brunson got hurt, he got ripped for not shooting. What's your thoughts? I don't believe that. I think it's a funny story. I think Cat was probably a little overwhelmed at that stage of his career. He was a lot younger when he played with Jimmy Butler. But now, as a full-grown perennial all-star, one of the faces of my New York Knicks, do I think he's afraid of Jimmy Butler? No, I don't think so. With regards to Jalen Brunson not shooting, I don't remember the play. I didn't necessarily see that game, so it's hard for me to comment on that. But I don't think Cat's afraid of Jimmy Butler. No, I don't think so. TJD Santa Cruz. What do you mean by that? Is there something I don't know about? Did they send him to Santa Cruz? He said, this is huge, Frank. I've been telling all my boys Santos is another second round steal. Appreciate you seeing the growth and potential in this young man. I saw it in the Olympics. To be honest with you, I saw it in the Olympics because part of what I do is evaluate talent. I'm a talent evaluator. So when I saw him he played on Brazil's Olympic team. I saw him in the summer. I was in Atlanta at the time, and he was hitting his mid-range. He was going to the basket. I was like, is this the same guy that doesn't get off the bench in the Warriors? I honestly did not recognize him. He's playing so well. And he didn't necessarily get off to a rousing start with the Warriors this year. But when he finally got his opportunity to get reasonably consistent minutes, he looks like a player. I mean, I went to a Warrior game this year. He's every bit of 6'8". He's not a small guy. He's 6'8", legitimately 230, probably 235, aggressive as hell, and he's somebody who Kerr trusts. Good player. He says, with LeBron being out a couple of weeks, they probably fall to third if the Warriors hold on to 6. Do you like our chances, or is Denver easier for us? I don't think it matters. I think when you have a championship mentality, you believe you can beat anybody. And when you are able to focus on one series at a time, you do that. And that's the greatness of Kerr. That's the greatness of Stephen Curry and all those guys, and Clay and Draymond. And I know Clay's not here anymore. Think about this. In 22, the Warriors were down 2-1 against Boston. And then they made an adjustment. They bewildered the Celtics, and it was a wrap. Now, the Lakers are a tough matchup for the Warriors because they have really long defensive perimeter players. So that's kind of a problem. But do I think that the Warriors can beat the Lakers? Yeah, I do. I do because the mental part of basketball is not talked about enough. And I think the Warriors are capable of beating anybody. I do. Will they be the favorite? No. Denver doesn't scare me at all. They won a lot this year. They're talented. But if you're the Warriors, you go into that series thinking one thing. We're going to double Jokic every time. All right? And then number 2 is Murray. So Christian Braun has to beat me. Can Christian Braun play as well as Caldwell Pope did during the year in which Denver won a title? I got to see that, because taking players away is not hard to do. It's not. You can do that. So, I'm a Warriors supporter and kind of a Warrior fan, I guess. I don't think that they would be uncomfortable with playing against anybody. They have the best half-court offense in the NBA. They do. They have the best half-court offense in the NBA. The way that it's run, they are the best in late clock situations. And when you can grind those possessions out, that really helps your defense. I was watching Milwaukee tonight. I was watching Sacramento tonight. Part of those teams' challenges are, it's like, okay, your turn, my turn. Very talented. You know, I've been screaming at the top of my lungs for damn near 5+ years for people that would say definitively that Luka Doncic is a better player than Jason Tatum. What? What are you watching? Is he just as good? Yeah. Is he better than Jason Tatum? I don't think so. Not to me. I don't know what this, this Luka love fest thing is all about. I don't get it. And most of the time, it comes from commentators and the media and doubt. Oh, we don't have Luka. Mark Cuban should be quiet. Oh yeah, we should have got more. Dude, you sold your team. You sold your team, and you still have ownership in this team. Let them run the team the way that they want to run it. When you watch the Lakers right now, who's the best player on the team? LeBron. LeBron's a better player than Luka right now. Tell me I'm wrong. Prove to me that I'm wrong. When I watch the Lakers, I see LeBron James doing more than Luka. Is Luka great? Yeah, he's great. We're going to get a chance to see Luka in action over the next couple of weeks if LeBron's out a couple of weeks. There's a lot of narratives in the NBA that you have to be able to kind of negotiate all of that stuff and draw your own conclusion. Vicky says, no, JK is not going to get that much money from the Warriors. They'll get it from somebody else. Will Washington pay him that kind of money? Hell yeah, they would. They need a face. That Warrior team was so special. You're talking about the KD Warriors, right? Yeah. The Warriors sent Trace Jackson Davis to Santa Cruz today. Okay. So what do I surmise from that? What I surmise, I don't know. But I've been on teams. I've had situations with coaches that has always been the best. Players can be immature. Coaches can be immature. Now, is he hurt? Does he have an injury? Let's get the facts out there, because I don't have the facts. If it's purely, Trace is healthy. We just want to go down to Santa Cruz so we can get some reps. That's a buzzword for, we're going to teach him a lesson. If he's getting like some medical training, oh no, we just want to make sure that he stays fresh and get him some reps. Now it's a power dynamic. And it's not it's not something that you would be surprised about from the Warriors staff. And it also speaks to, it also looks like, maybe he's not performing in practice. and they have that lever that they can pull. They can still do that under his contract. So I hope that he has somebody in his ear that's like, yo, dude, this shall pass. Go down there, get you 30, get you 20 rebounds, and act like nothing ever happened. Because there's a gateway to you getting the money that you want. It might not happen in San Francisco. It might not happen with the Warriors. This is a business. Don't let them win. Don't let them win. I remember when I was a college player, and I had some really close relationships, and things were not going as well as we wanted them to go. And that usually meant that the coaches was going to kill you in practice. But we were maturing as young men and as basketball players to the point where coaches didn't even have to push us. We would go into practice and for 2 hours work our tails off to fall in love with the game. So if a coach is trying to screw you and you just giving everything that you have in practice, they may not tell you that they have respect for you, but they have respect for you because you're doing your job. And that's what it's about. It's a business. And I hope that Trayce Jackson-Davis handles this correctly and not allow the Warriors to get the sense that he's being bothered. Now, again, I'm going on the premise that he's healthy. I don't know anything else, okay? But this doesn't surprise me, not at all. He says, Curry seems to be peaking at the right time, and that's saying a lot. I hope Kuminga coming back strong, hopefully, will be able to outgun everyone and shock the world like 3 years ago. I think they can do it. I honestly do. I mean, who right now on the Warriors is not playing well? I have an asterisk, with the exception of Buddy Hield. Now you got Bad Bunny, right? You guys know Bad Bunny. You got Bad Bunny and you got Bad Buddy. When Buddy Hield is making shots, he's going to play. You can almost guarantee the Warriors are going to win. When he's not making shots, you can't play him. And the Warriors know this. So it's not like he's like trying to do things that's like not good for the team. I don't think he knows any better. I just don't. Ricky says Trayce Jackson-Davis looks to me like he's lost on the floor. I don't know. He might be making some mistakes that I can't see with my eye. Maybe you see. I always look at the timeouts to see if he's congratulating his teammates. If he's smiling, congratulating his teammates. That's what I look for. And I look for that because the producers of the broadcast are looking for stories and angles to follow. So they're going to go to every player so they can build that up. And to his credit, he's not giving them any meat to chew on. He looks like he's clapping. I watch him. I watch all that stuff. And he's been great on the bench. But in practice, we don't know because we're not at practice, which is really strange because they don't practice a lot. So, you're never going to get the quote truth. But this is a sign. You're going to send a guy who's been in the league for what? Solid 2 years. You're going to send him to the G League? Really? Key says, Trayce Jackson-Davis can't make a free throw, throwing his whole game off, and post making 40% on, Yeah, that was one of my concerns with him coming out of Indiana. I got a problem with anybody at the NBA level who shoots sub 70 from the free throw line. That's one of my bugaboos, particularly if you're a big guy, because you're going to get fouled. You must shoot over 70%. Otherwise, you're just a turnover. I saw, not the game against Detroit, but the game before Detroit, Trayce Jackson-Davis goes to the line late, and he clanks 2 free throws. You can't do that. You can't. You can't do that as a pro. You cannot. So I don't think that warrants him being sent down in and of itself. There has to be other stuff. But that's one of the things that I was looking at. I'm going to say this too. Isaiah Stewart pushing Stephen Curry, making a sign that he's small. I don't want to put a dollar amount on it. But I think in the course of his career, Isaiah Stewart, because Isaiah Stewart is actually a talented guy, but he wants to play in the 1980s and 90s. This is a different NBA, dude. You know, guys who want to impose their physical will to the extent that you want to take it beyond anything else, don't make it in this league. This is $1 billion business. He's probably going to lose somewhere between $50 and $100 million throughout the course of his career. This is a guy who averaged solidly double figures over the previous couple of years when they wasn't any good. This year, he plays 19 minutes a game. He averages 5 points and 3 rebounds. And you're going to talk smack to Stephen Curry? Come on, man. Come on, dude. Anybody knows that makes no sense. So where are you going to get your money? Who's going to pay you what you're worth? Who is why can't I think of his name right now? Kevin Durant's really good friend. Left-hander was number 2 pick out of Miami with the Kansas State. I can't think of his name right now. I saw a video of him, and it was sad because he was talking to, I don't know if he's talking to Matt Barnes and Jackson, or maybe he was on another podcast. I can't think of his name. Why can't I think? Michael what? What's Mike's name with the Kansas State? Help me out. But he's Kevin Durant's really good friend. He basically said that he was blackballed from the NBA. He's the only guy who didn't get a chance to really show his talent, and he can play in the league right now. I think his last name starts with a B. I can't think of his name right now. With the Kansas State, got drafted by Miami, played for my Knicks, played for a lot of teams. And it's just really, really sad. Because in that whole interview, yeah, there you go. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, Aaron says, Aaron lost. Thank you. And welcome to the program. Michael Beasley. I didn't hear him take any inkling of responsibility for his demise as an NBA player. Zero. And that bothers me because I love basketball. And I was nowhere near as good as these guys. But I understood the mental part of the business. I was mature. I got it. Some of these guys don't get it. They don't get it. In spite of all of the exposure to education, this, that, even just like, you know, I kind of like to hear Boobie Cousins, DeMarcus Cousins talk now. He's starting to get it. He's not totally there. You know, there's a lot of him that thinks that, yo, people did me in. And like, I'm like, yo, you could have ran for mayor in Sacramento. All you needed to do was take the high road. You let a coach get under your skin so much that he essentially ruined your career and got you out of town. I'm even looking at De'Aaron Fox right now. I'm like, dude, do you know what you gave up in Sacramento? Do you know what an incredible players market Sacramento is? He looks like another guy on San Antonio. And I'm going to give Sacramento credit. Sacramento took the high road when he came back. I guess player tribute, the whole nine. That's the Sacramento that I love. Those are the fans that I love. Even if there was some people booing, okay, you know. And from De'Aaron's perspective, he answered the questions. He did all that stuff. But I got to think he's going to look back years from now and go, what was I thinking? That was your team. That was your organization. Do Sacramento look like they miss him? They don't miss him at all. Zach LaVine is like, wow, thank you, Jesus. I got a place where I can go to the arena every game and play my game and do what I want to do and be revered by fans. I love this place. Clay's dad said his son is stuck in purgatory. Should have stayed. Bad move by him to trust in the Mavericks, but just bad luck. Steve Kerr made his mind up already. He had to go. And everybody knows it. Every time Clay went to the negotiation table, they gave him less money. They gave him a worse deal every time because I think Steve Kerr was done with him. He didn't feel that he could coach him. And it's sad. It is what it is. I'm going to hold off in the Dallas prognostication business because I think that next year we'll get a chance to see. They're going to keep that draft pick from OKC. I believe they're going to lose respectfully, and they're going to get a top 6 pick. I believe they are. Now, if they don't keep that pick, all hell is going to break loose because they can't come back and say, well, we got better. But if you look at Luka leaving and you got Anthony Davis, you got Christie, and you got a brand new lottery pick with all those young boys, I think you can sell to your fan base and sell to the naysayers that we're ready to go. So I'm very proud of how Clay's played this year. I really am. Vicky says, I feel so bad for the Sacramento Kings fans. Another lost year. Well, they played their tails off tonight. I don't know if they won the game or not against the Clippers. I don't know if they won. I was on air. But I kind of like their team as long as Malik Monk is not starting with Zach LaVine. You can't have both of those guys out there. You have two individual players in Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. You can't have three. I'm going to give Monty McNair credit. It seems like whatever situation the Kings go through, now, the firing of the coach, that didn't come from the GM. That was the owner's move. So I kind of give the GM a little pass there. When I look at Monty McNair, I look at player acquisition. The Kings got a pretty decent roster. They got a pretty decent roster. It's going to be interesting to see what occurs when they play the Warriors this week. That should be a battle. Now, there was a lot to be desired from watching them in their half-court execution this game. They're not a very good half-court execution team. They're not. Nothing's – either DeMar has the ball or Zach LaVine has the ball. Keegan Murray has regressed. He's not even a factor now. You think the Warriors would love to have Keegan Murray? You think Steve Kerr couldn't find a way to get that guy some open shots? Come on. Why in the world would the Raptors split up the Cousins, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady, that team would have been much watched TV for over a decade. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think they just didn't see the potential in those two because they're two fabulous players and Cousins. The Kings can't go far in the playoffs. I don't think so. You're right, Vicky, because they don't execute in the half court. They don't. So, but I respect how hard they play. I think they do play hard. And 2 weeks ago when I saw them play, they were not playing very hard. And I don't know if they were playing the Warriors that night or whatever, but they looked horrible. And Doug Christie's found a way to rally those guys. Maybe it's the insertion of some new players, new blood. Maybe he's just a good communicator. That doesn't necessarily translate to half-court execution. Mike Brown should still be the coach. No one can convince me that that's not the case. But I was very proud of that Sacramento fan base. I thought they were really classy, and that was good to see. I like the Geno Smith move to the Raiders. I like that. More professional team this year, better coach, better quarterback. Will they make the playoffs? I don't know if they will, but I think that they'll challenge. I think they're going to be better. So, this new regime led by Brady and some other folks, I like what they're doing. Seattle, they want to pay him. They're going to pay Sam Darnold, in my opinion. But I like the Geno to the Raiders. I do like that. Myles Garrett, $123 million. Yo, man, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer. Maybe you won't get a Super Bowl ring. I don't know. Get your money. Get your money. He got his money, and maybe they can build that thing. I'm most happy about the Steelers. I think getting DK Metcalf was a huge deal for Pittsburgh. And it appears to me that there was some type of underground railroad. DK went where he wanted to go, but there's no tampering. No tampering doesn't happen. Right, okay, sure. He got to go where he wanted to go, I believe, and he got the money that he wanted. So let's go. Let's go get it. NC2A men's, women in basketball. If Duke doesn't win this year, a colossal failure. They clearly have the best team. Clearly. They should win. In the women's side, South Carolina all day. I'm a big Dawn Staley fan. Where they took care of Texas today after losing to them a couple of weeks ago was a statement. And I think South Carolina has an opportunity to win another one. My man Aaron says, Myles Garrett led everyone on to believe he wanted to win a chip. Met with LeBron asking him how to get out. Big lie. Yeah? I mean, football's a little different, Aaron. If they was not going to entertain trading him, he's kind of stuck. It's not like the NBA. So maybe he did the next best thing. He got the most money that he can get. He got $40 million a year, $123 million guaranteed. And he still have time. I mean, if he want to chase a ring, he's still going to have time to do it. But football is so unforgiving. I'm happy he got paid. What realistically is the 49ers' chance to make the playoffs? March Madness, baby. I think the 49ers will be competitive, but their division is going to be tougher. They might not make the playoffs. Obviously, the Rams got better. Rams got better at wide receiver. But I'm not quite sure about Seattle. I'm not quite sure about them. If I look at the 49ers division, I think the Rams are the best team right now. And I don't care if no moves are made. I can't pick the Cardinals over the 49ers. And I think that they're better than Seattle. So I think the 49ers have an opportunity for a bounce back year, but Sean McVay with more weapons is scary. I think the Rams are going to be really good next year. I saw a movie this week, Last Breath. And if you look at the trailer, it's a new Woody Harrelson movie with Simu Liu, the plays superhero action movie star. He did well also. But Last Breath apparently is a true story. As unbelievable as it is, the only thing I would say to you, because I don't want to spoil anything, is a mishap, a real serious tragedy happened at sea. And there was a frantic series of events to make things right. That's all you need to know. Action-packed, thrilling, heart-wrenching. Go see that movie, Last Breath. Check it out. If you don't like the trailer of Last Breath, don't allow that to stop you from going to see the movie. It's an excellent movie. It really is. Vicky says, if the 49ers don't make the playoffs, Coach Sanders to the 49ers. Wow. Not a cultural fit, but who knows? I think Shanahan needs to make the playoffs this year. He needs to do that. And I'm rooting for them. I don't see why they can't. They still got enough players, but they got to get cooking. And it starts with Purdy getting his contract signed. They got to draft well. They got work to do. You're right about that. I wanted to clarify something. When I was on Dan Coach Amelia's show, I talked about how the city of San Francisco hasn't produced any high school basketball players in a long time. And they don't produce a lot. But last night, I got the thrill ride of a lifetime. You know, I just arbitrarily went online, bought some tickets to a playoff game. And I saw Reardon High School versus Legion. The game was in the city. It was in San Francisco. I went there. And Reardon has some players. They got one young man. His name is Jasir Rincher. Now, apparently he doesn't live in the city. Apparently he lives in the East Bay. But he is signed to go play for Buzz at Texas A&M. And that is a perfect school for him. They list him at 6'6". I'm not quite sure he's that tall. Maybe 6'4", 6'5", maybe he's 6'6", got long arms, but a tenacious defender who's fearless, who's tough, who's competitive. Buzz is going to love this kid, and fans of Texas A&M are going to love him. Jasir Rincher. Keep your name on that. Keep your eyes on that kid. And they also have a point guard who's a junior. I can't think of his name, but he's talented as well. So, Reardon got some players. So Legion didn't have as many players. Good competitive game. Had a great time. I mean, luckily there were no fire marshals around because that place was packed. I didn't know Reardon's gym was so nice. They got a beautiful high school gym. Beautiful. Beautiful. Captivating crowd. I had a wonderful time. I stood up the whole time. Seating room, standing room only. It was great. I loved it. I want to talk also really quickly, just make a comment about Angela Reese, star WNBA player at LSU. She was quoted just as saying that if they don't give us what we want, we won't play, something to that effect. And it's, you know what, Angela, your whole existence is because of basketball. The WNBA has given you the biggest platform to sell hamburgers, to have a successful podcast. Take it easy. Just chill, relax. Let your union, let your executives negotiate a deal for you ladies. Don't be making comments like that. I mean, I'm sure somebody pulled the card a little bit. Just go out and have a great year, like I think you're going to do. Let them do their job. Let your union, your representatives do their job, and let them get the money that you all deserve. Just random comments like that. Take your lead from some of the more senior players. I'll just say that. Vicky says, I love watching high school basketball. It's so much fun. It is so much fun. All right, man. I was going to make a proclamation about this show, about how good it was going to be because I had so many topics. I didn't do it because I didn't feel I needed to. I knew this show would be a lot of fun to do. It's been interesting. I love your comments. And I love the fact that people are listening with not necessarily contributing. They just listen. And that's really the essence of what we're trying to do, provide excellent content. So I want to thank you for that. I went into the end of the show to raise something that's really sad. I know many of you are already aware of it and going through your process of maybe grieving up close or grieving from afar. But we lost a legend on Friday. Dwayne Wiggins, one of the founding members of Tony Tony, at the age of 64, died of cancer. What cancer? It might be out there. I'm not going to speak to that. But he passed, and it seemed like it was like really, really rapid. I was kind of inquisitive about why he wasn't involved in the music at All-Star Weekend. It makes more sense now. Apparently, at the tail end of his life, he was really, really challenged physically. And I just send prayers out to his family and his loved ones and everybody out there who admired him and loved his music because it's a great loss. And one of the cool things about Dwayne and even Raphael Sadiq and all of the Wiggins family, people talk about, I'm gonna come outside. I'm outside. Dwayne Wiggins was outside a lot. It was not uncommon to see Dwayne Wiggins in Starbucks, walking down the street. He had a really nice classic, like light blue car. Maybe it was a Mustang. I don't particularly know. But when he showed up, it had a sunroof. He rode it in the summer sometimes. What a beautiful car. And just a really warm, soft-spoken human being that could have walked around saying, look at me. And he never did that. Never. I admired him. And obviously, we will continue to enjoy, the great contributions that he's made to music and culture. And all things promoting Black culture in Oakland. I think he was involved in maybe Kalani's career to a certain degree. Just a really, really tough loss. And hopefully he's resting peacefully now. I wanted to speak to that because I'm sure people listening to the program are in line with those thoughts, so you have your own about him. My man Key says, thanks, Frank. Great show, as usual. Peace and blessing. Yes, sir, my brother. I thank you for showing up. I appreciate you. I'm going to do my thing and get out of here, everybody. It's a pleasure to do this show. My name is Frank Red. This is the In the Dungeon show, all right? Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better. As far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. The Warriors got a tough game tomorrow night. We'll see how that turns out. Everybody have a safe week. And get my man Aaron in there. He has one last comment. Great show, Frank. I see you on Dan's show, too. Yeah, that's my dude, man. That's my guy. All right, everybody have a great week, and I'll talk to you the next show. Good night.